Ooh. Live from ISS. Oh man, that's hard to say. Live from ISS's. What exactly do we do here? Meeting room on the 14th floor of its 12-story headquarters.
Oh, that's an interesting floor.
It's an all-new, terrific Tuesday edition of Business Pants, joined by analyst Matt Moscardi in today's Jamie Dimon bedazzled sun visor called May 21st, 2024. Biz Nuggets in the top 5 list throwdown. Yeah, data.
Yeah,
Woo,
data. Whoa, yeah. Hey.
Our show today is being sponsored by Free Flow Analytics, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free, people.
Yeah, it's free.
If you are curious if your directors actually generate shareholder returns or how big the gender power gap is, go to freeflowanalytics.com and sign up. Boy, that's poorly written copy. You started off strong, but that last sentence is terrible.
How dare you? Well, you got to say what it is.
It's terrible.
I don't know how to say what it is. It's a lot of things. It's
ready
everything.
for some dumb jokes?
Let's do some dumb jokes. It's been a while since we've done dumb jokes. I'm excited.
Stay tuned.
To
we have data at the end of the show. We have data, actual data from Free Flow Analytics, right?
Yeah. Just survive the banter. You'll get to the end. You'll get the data.
Here we go. I'm going to start off with Boeing. I got a lot of Boeing stuff. Is it a shock?
No.
Several from Boeing. Here we go. In our Boeing investors also approve eating rusty nails for breakfast, sleeping in boiling spaghetti water, and replacing the sun with a piece of extra crispy fried chicken. Headline of the week. Boeing investors approve CEO's pay as company faces probes possible prosecution.
I like the end of that headline.
That's why I picked that one.
That's really good. Yeah.
In our overheard frequently was the question, what about your dentist? Do you like your dentist? Headline of the week. New Boeing chair sought feedback for CEO search from customers, employees, investors. Just asking everybody.
Yeah, just like that. That is almost everyone. They didn't.
Yeah.
They left off governments, but it's.
I mean, who hasn't flown a Boeing anyway, right? Is it all customers? Everybody,
yeah, they should ask everybody on the way into a Boeing plane. Do you know anybody who can run this company?
Well, how about not Dave Calhoun? How about that?
No, that one's off the table. Investors are okay with that.
In our Yale professor Jeffrey Sonnenfeld called Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun extra double mega super duper double donut laser focused in finding the right person to replace him at a job that he wasn't entirely sure how to do in the first place. Headline of the week. Boeing reelects outgoing CEO as search for replacement continues amid safety culture crisis.
Every single one of those needs the addendum.
I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
That's a big laser, though, that he's using.
Big laser.
That's really big
really
laser.
Big laser. My last Boeing joke. The fire was set as part of a controlled CEO celebration in response to extraordinary sycophantic investors. Headline of the week.
Ooh, I don't know.
I just wanted to pick a random Boeing headline to demonstrate an overall point here, so bear with me. Boeing 747 catches fire, forced to land on flight from Indonesia to Saudi Arabia. That's just a headline from yesterday, I believe.
I mean, it's just a headline.
It's just this is just a Boeing season. It's Boeing season.
I like to think of Boeing headlines as like one of those like bags where you put your hand in, you pull out a ticket, and you never know what you're going to get.
Covered in Lyme diseasey ticks.
It's usually covered
shareholders
in flaming door plugs.
That Boeing investors, they seem to enjoy. They like it.
They're totally fine with it.
The last one before I hand it off to you, Matt. In our ISS to vote against expired okay, here we go. ISS to vote against half of a carton of expired milk for company-wide luncheon. Headline of the week.
Oh.
So see what they're doing? They're only voting against half of the milk.
Yeah,
I don't know which half.
The whole. They don't. The whole thing's expired, but the half is the one.
Just half of it. CalPERS to vote against all 12 Exxon directors.
Yeah.
Exciting loss. See, that's how you do it. You make a decision, CalPERS.
I mean, it's almost like CalPERS looked at it and said, "Well, there's a lot of evidence that this is a shit board."
Well, and this is the evidence. They're citing the lawsuit that Exxon has against its own shareholders.
Yeah.
There you go.
Although hedging yourself by voting against half the expired milk is also a good idea.
Which half, though? The top half or the bottom half? That's the most important thing to me.
Hey, did anyone notice this guy is his brother? Or this other guy went to their weddings? How come this wasn't on my ISS proxy report? Headline of the week. Tesla shareholders say Elon's influence makes Kimball Musk and James Murdoch unsuitable for the company's board.
I also have a joke for the same headline. Just you wait.
What?
Yours
Did
might
they
be better.
just realize? Like, it was left off of every report before this?
Well, as we talked about with Doug Cha today, there are an extraordinary amount of annual meetings all happening at the same time. So maybe they didn't get to that report.
Yeah, they saw the last name. And they're like, wow, fun coincidence. 2 people named Musk. That's weird.
I think it's more likely that they saw Kimball, and they're like, nobody would name their kids Elon and Kimball, so it couldn't be his brother.
That's just cruel. We are innovating on an air vacuum cleaner that has taken 14 years to develop and currently sucks the equivalent of 17 Coke bottles worth of CO2 out of the atmosphere, said Darren Woods, Exxon's CEO, in touting Exxon's incredible progress on carbon capture. Bison, meanwhile, reportedly scoffed and suggested a vote against the Exxon board. Headline of the week.
Jeez.
170-strong bison herd can store CO2 emissions equivalent to 43,000 U.S. cars.
Incredible.
Yeah, they launched a new carbon capture device out in was it? It was in Iceland, and apparently it just takes this 170 bison. So it does 6 times as much as the new vacuum cleaner.
This highly touted vacuum cleaner in Iceland, which comes from a company called Climeworks, I believe, a Swiss company, will pull out 8,000 the emissions equal to 8,000 cars. And you're telling me that the 170 bison, 43,000 cars.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
It took several $1 million to build the vacuum cleaner.
Please.
Meanwhile, 170 bison, you just give them some grass.
Note to the audience: I also have a joke on that headline later. This is exciting. We have dueling jokes today.
Yeah, well, I got a dueling one here. In our CalPERS, in a statement, claimed to be pro-bison. Headline of the week: CalPERS to vote against Exxon board members.
I don't know what that means. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Darren
Woods. I get it.
Darren Woods in the vacuum cleaner. Yeah, that's what I did.
I can't imagine there's anything that Darren Woods hates more than a bison. He probably just hates them. Thinks they're woke, I'm guessing.
He devoted approximately 23% of the last proxy statement to anti-bison rhetoric.
Is a bison just a woke, hairy cow? I mean, what's going on?
In which case, are we in the milk wars? Is a cow not woke now? I don't understand. In a governance riddle for you, if the CEO is an employee of the company, but the company is owned by a different company, and the board is chosen by the different company, and the CEO is held accountable by the board, then does a tree falling in the forest make a sound? Headline of the week.
Oh.
Red Lobster is blaming its bankruptcy on top shareholder and its ex-CEO, saying $11 million all-you-can-eat shrimp fiasco contributed to its demise.
I also have this headline. I have this headline too, and I have a joke on this too. We're picking the same headlines.
Everything's funny.
They're blaming the demise of an entire company on it was only an $11 million campaign. Only $11 million. Isn't that less than half of what a CEO earns? That killed the company?
But that's a lot of shrimp. That's a lot of
Okay,
shrimp.
but what you're saying is that CEOs make too much money, I think is what you're saying.
Well, in this case, the CEO of Red Lobster, the shareholder that 100% owned Red Lobster, told him to buy or owned all the shrimp and told him to buy the shrimp. So it was...
the company you're referring to, which I am going to talk about later, is a private equity firm called Golden Gate Capital. That's the owners of Red Lobster.
It's awesome. Is what it is. It's awesome.
It is
sauce.
awesome.
In our, what if we did like all-you-can-eat breakfast, like an endless breakfast,
now we're talking.
A cheap breakfast that doesn't end.
I love
Mr.
this.
Peltz, what do you think? Headline of the week. Wendy's will offer $3 breakfast deal as rivals such as McDonald's test value meals to drive sales.
Is Peltz
Everything
still on
should
the
be
Wendy's
endless.
board? He's still there?
Yeah, Peltz is still there. Matthew Peltz, his son, is still there too.
I mean, I defy anyone. You can drive by a Wendy's every day for 10 years. What's changed at Wendy's? What's happening? What's going on?
No, now they're new, Dave.
Okay. Nelson has brought some value to that.
It's innovative now.
It's innovative. Okay.
All right, you do some.
Let me do some. Here we go. In our Bill Ackman. Remember Bill Ackman?
I don't want to.
Bill Ackman calls out leadership team at Neuralink, whose only woman is the mother of Elon Musk's twins. Oh, wait. That was an April Fool's joke that ended up in the wrong folder. Just please disregard. Headline of the week. Neuralink to implant second human with brain chip as 85% of threads retract in first. So I guess there's complications with their first patient where everything is going wrong, and yet they're doing a second human now.
Not everything. Only half the milk container expired.
Yeah, that's true. In our Governor Meatball, Ron DeSantis introduces bill to ban mammals from Florida.
Finally,
Headline of the
it's
week.
About time.
170 strong bison herd can store blah, 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 blah. Yeah, CO2 emissions.
I like that. I see.
But I mean, DeSantis is going to have to get rid of the bison, right?
Because he banned climate change.
These woke MFing bison are going to ruin everything.
The good news is bison also hate Florida. They're like Mainers, so they're out.
It's true. In our OpenAI leaders also said they'll keep elevating the coffee program for employees after spraying toxic rat poison in the coffee supply. Headline of the week.
Well, that's going to be a harder job.
OpenAI's leaders say they'll keep elevating safety after disbanding their existential dangers team. So they got rid of all the people in charge of safety, but they're gonna be laser focused on safety. Laser focused.
Did they mean they'll put
according to
safety
Jeffrey
in an
Sonnenfeld
elevator somewhere? A freight elevator, maybe.
Nothing good is coming. Nothing good is happening. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know.
I got two more. These are long-winded, so bear with me here. In our, what did you say? Who? Oh, Kimball? Nah. Don't worry about him. That's just the CEO's brother. He's fine. You won't even notice him. And look, it's too late now. There's a statute of limitations at the SEC which curtails terrible shareholders. It says if you can't manage to vote out a sucky director after 10 years, then you are stuck with said sucky director for life. Kimball has been on the Tesla board since 2004. He's yours now. Sorry. Headline of the week. Tesla shareholders say Elon's influence makes Kimball Musk unsuitable for the... Yeah, you did this.
I love it. Yeah, I read that.
I mean, really.
I still love it.
Look, I say vote out Kimball Musk and James Murdoch, but then I'm also thinking, you know what? Maybe you're stuck with them. Maybe you don't have the right to vote them out anymore.
Well,
what are you doing?
Well, so there's a classified board. So he only comes up for election, every 4 years?
Every 3 years.
3 years. So he was added in 2004. So you had a chance in 2004 to say no.
They went well, to be fair, they went public in 2010.
Okay, so let's say 4, 7, 10. So you had 2010, you could have voted against him. 2013, 2016, 2019, 2022.
Well, maybe... Okay, bear with me. I don't quite understand the science. I'm not a biology major, but maybe he only became the brother of Elon recently. Is that possible?
That is possible.
I don't know the science.
That is, I know. Nobody knows the science.
Nobody knows the science. Finally, this is another long-winded joke here. In our you mean that shitty restaurant owned by private equity firm Golden Gate Capital? Where only 5 of 44 members of the investment team are women? Oh, the same Golden Gate Capital where 9 of 10 members of the administrative team are women. Oh yeah, this is 2024. We don't take private equity firm patriarchies like Golden Gate Capital seriously anymore, and you shouldn't either. All you can eat shrimp? Yeah, that's what boys in middle school dream up. Headline of the week. Whew, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, that's
Red Lobster is blaming its bankruptcy on top shareholder and his ex-CEO, saying blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
You left out the most important part.
Yeah, go ahead.
That 6 of the 44 members of the investment team were shrimp. That's what the double down was.
90% of your administrative team are women and 5 of 44 investment. What the hell is going on? What is this?
They had already hired all the women to the administrative team, and then they were like, there are no more left for the investment team.
That is shameful. Red Lobster.
In our...
Yeah,
this is the last 4. Let's wrap this up.
Come on, let's go.
In our first agenda item today, I'm going to need someone to call Douglas Rain. He was the voice of HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'd like him for the next version of our chatbot. Wait, he died? Does anyone else have any really recognizable actor voices that played horrible machines? What about James Spader? Wasn't he Ultron? Or Rutger Hauer from Blade Runner? Yeah. Does Skynet talk? Is that a real thing? We need a good voice. Headline of the week. Scarlett Johansson said no, but OpenAI's virtual assistant sounds just like her.
I tagged so many articles about this. I actually haven't read it because I'm just sick of OpenAI, but this is a crazy story. Like they asked her multiple times to voice the AI. She said no, and they use her voice
and they copied her voice anyway.
Yeah. But I know this is like a really trivial way to sum up my thoughts here, but this is why I get angry about not having guardrails over tech and over these stupid bro-y CEOs, because of things like this, and it's not always so trivial, but it kind of is, right? Like if you take Uber for an example, they go into markets, they break laws, and they get so much market control that it's too late to do anything about it, right? Because there's no oversight. No one's telling these people not to break the laws, right? It's out of control.
Like that if you had the 2 women on the board before who said a lot of what you're doing, Sam Altman, you're a bad idea. Sam Altman's not there to call Scarlett Johansson and then effectively stealing her voice, which they've now taken that voice down because she had to sue them.
Of course.
For effectively stealing her voice.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact that they made the responses of the chatbot basically like a giggly, flirty girl. Like
incredible.
That's so. You're making me blush. It would say stuff like that when you're asking it like advanced equations. Like it's bananas what happens when you put a bunch of white men who hate women in charge of a company to run the world.
Without guardrails, right?
With no guardrails.
None.
No guardrails.
Yeah. No oversight.
Speaking of, these assholes stole what we rightfully stole. This is injustice. Headline of the week. Sundar Pichai says OpenAI might have breached YouTube's terms and conditions to train its text-to-video model Sora.
Wait, what? YouTube is mad at somebody?
YouTube is mad at OpenAI for stealing YouTube stuff.
The company that basically, breached every copyright law known to the universe. Every time I go to YouTube, I'm like, how does this exist? Like, what is this?
This is how humanity ends, though. It's like the 7 tech bros who stole everybody else's stuff.
They're gonna eat each other. It's like a snake eating its tail. Yeah.
they're like, you stole my stuff that I stole. No, you stole it. No.
Everybody shut up.
I'm excited about it. 2 more, all right? 2 more.
Yeah, come on.
We are now announcing we're downgrading our super alignment team, which had planned to be super aligned to humanity, to be a slightly angled team, which plans on being 36% angle to humanity for the foreseeable future. Headline of the week. OpenAI just dissolved its team dedicated to managing AI risks, like the possibility of it going rogue.
Here's another trivial thing I'm upset about today. What's with tech bros with using the word super?
They like super.
They have a super alignment team that they fired, right, at OpenAI. Elon Musk just fired his supercharger team at Tesla. What's going on?
I mean,
first of all, why are you firing things that you're calling super in the first place? And why do you need so much control? Like, why do you have to get rid of everyone? Why do you need to exert so much control and authority?
Oh,
Why?
they did have to abandon the word Uber, which they wanted to put in front of everything because Uber crashed.
Well, Super is the new Uber.
Super's the new Uber. That's all that is.
It's a bunch of middle school boys.
And finally, this is just light and stupid.
Okay, here we go.
Also in the works, a billionaire silencer headline of the week. A group of college kids may have just figured out how to get leaf blowers to shut up.
Oh, Matt, this is like the greatest thing ever. This is the thing I hate most is leaf blowers. I hate, first of all, where the hell is your rake? Second of all, what do you know about this? Like, what are they doing? Are they just putting
a silencer on a leaf blower?
It's that easy?
It was that easy. They put like this cone at the top of the leaf blower, and it silenced it by like an exponential percentage, like some massive percentage. Stanley Black & Decker already bought their silencer concept.
This is the best news.
I just love the idea that it was like it took two college kids being like, I hate waking up at 7 a.m. to the stupid groundskeepers in their leaf blowers.
Yeah.
And all they did was put like a cone at the top of it. And that was it. They're engineering students too.
I would have liked if their solution was a rake.
Well, Stanley Black & Decker would not have bought that.
They wouldn't have approved that.
$1 million.
All right,
yeah.
Let's move on. Let's wrap up this show. We got some data. Oh wait, we don't get exciting music for the data as well.
Oh no, I got to turn off
just
the
for
other
dumb
music.
Jokes?
I got to turn off the other music and then give us one of these.
All right, okay.
I love entering to a gong.
Every week we're trying to highlight some of the data that is available through freeflowanalytics.com or available through us if you reach out to us. I kept mine simple as I always do because I'm simple. So I looked at companies with the most pointless directors.
You got to define pointless though.
So what I did is pointless meaning any director that our data deems having less than 1% influence on the board. Less than 1%.
That's not much, yeah.
So I looked at the 1,500 largest U.S. companies, okay? The overall winner is financial services company CME Group with 7 pointless directors, which sounds big, but they have 23 directors at CME Group, but that's still a third of the board. It's
actually 2 director groups. They are very complicated structure.
But it's not surprising to anyone that there are superfluous directors at CME Group, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
No, it's not surprising.
But here's my favorite, and you can't make this shit up. I love this. My favorite is a company named Extra Space Storage.
Is that a real
this is
company?
true. This is all real. This is why you should use our data for stuff like this, where 31% of the board, that's 4 directors, are themselves Extra Space Storage. And I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Mark, Sue, Joe, and Jeff. You are Extra Space Storage at Extra Space Storage. And no, before you ask, Matt, this is not a dual-class company with crazy voting rights. This is not a dictatorship-controlled company where one person owns more than, like 50% of voting power. This is just a normal company with some extra space storage in human form. That's all it is.
First of all,
that's all it is.
I concede the throwdown war already. I'm not.
I got lucky. I got lucky on this one.
That a company called Extra Space Storage has the says 4 pointless directors.
And I got to say that this is high. Like I don't think there was even a company with 5 or 6. CME Group had 5. Several had 4, but it's not. This is really, they were in the top 5. This is amazing.
Yeah. That's an amazing poll.
I didn't dig deep for this one.
To have 4 directors with less than 1% influence on the board, and the company name is Extra Space Storage. All right, mine is also built off of new data that we've been working on. So this is data you don't have yet. If you're on freeflowanalytics.com, if you want it, you can reach out to us.
Why would you not want this?
So we mapped the knowledge that directors have, and we base the knowledge off of the industries that they've worked in as executives, the titles that they've had through their careers, and degrees that they've attained. So if you got like an engineering degree and you work in aerospace and you were the head of product design or something, we will take all those things, we match them to the databases that are full of these titles, have these knowledge, require this level of education, all this kind of stuff like that. So we went through and did this big exercise. It took us a couple of weeks, and we have knowledge maps. So what I did here was I wanted to find which industries at the highest level, the industry, on average, have the most engineering influence on the board? Knowledge required is engineering on average. Which industries have the most directors who have engineering knowledge?
All right.
Something really simple. Like, so right off the bat, what do you think an industry with that required engineering knowledge is going to be, right?
Yeah, like something in aerospace or
exactly. You think
aviation,
like aerospace, aviation, building something really
extra
technical
space
and
storage, maybe.
That's full of pointless knowledge.
Can you imagine that's an industry in the first place, like storing things, just like empty buildings to store stuff.
I love that. That's an entire sub-industry.
Oh my God.
There's more than one of those.
Oh, the humanity. Yeah. What do you got?
All right. Number 5 on this list is the environmental and facility services sub-industry.
So this is the industry with the 5th highest amount of engineering experience on the board?
The 5th highest amount of engineering influence on the board. This is where like engineering has some power on the board. And we're talking about there are 160 sub-industries. So this is number 5 out of 164-ish or something like that. Example companies here are Casella Waste. Doug Casella himself actually has a lot of engineering knowledge according to our data.
Yeah.
Clean Harbors, where Alan McKim has a tremendous amount.
Okay.
These are companies that effectively go out and pick shit up out of the environment. It's good. That's what you want, some engineering experience. You want those places to be innovative. Number 4, commercial printing.
Commercial printing. What is even commercial printing? Is that like milk cartons? What is that?
No, that's like actual printing of stuff on papers and signs.
Yeah. Oh my God, really? So
now we're getting into, there are 160 sub-industries. Commercial printing wouldn't have been in my top 50 guesses. Like printing signs.
No.
There is engineering required for that, but why are engineers spending their time on these boards? Example companies are Tapan, a Japanese company, Hidaru Maro, Rocksool, another Japanese company, Yasukune
Japanese really cornering the
Matsumoto.
commercial printing market, yeah.
They are all over it. Ennis, Keith Walters there has a lot of engineering knowledge, according to us.
A little surprising, yeah.
Number 3, now we're getting back into, I might have guessed this, but probably not, but close. Security and alarm services as a sub-industry.
Oh, I don't think I would have guessed that, yeah.
I wouldn't have necessarily guessed it, but you're talking now about drone technology and like sensors and like
we're talking like Mission Impossible stuff.
Mission Impossible stuff. The
average
we're
not talking about like getting a dog to bark at the mail.
Exactly.
The mail
No. And like 7 guys named Gus walking around with coffee saying, "Get off of this property." Like we're not talking about that. But the average engineering knowledge in the sector is 1.6%.
That's it?
By
That's
person.
low.
Well, most of the people on these boards don't have it, right? But we're talking about
average.
This is the average. So the average is skewed up because there are usually a couple people on every board that has some engineering knowledge. Example companies here actually include Brinks, which is, the big, they're carrying
Brinks.
Brinks,
gold,
the money trucks and whatever.
Bricks or whatever. Yeah.
Michael Hurling and Mark Eubanks there popped in our knowledge database. Seacom, which is another Japanese company. One thing I did notice is the Japanese and engineering on boards is a thing, right? Like next I got to look at countrywide because the Japanese seem to put a lot of engineers on boards. Number 2. Now, I would have never guessed this. Ever. This might have been out of 160 sub-industries, 159 on my guesses.
Is it going to be like Red Lobster or something? What's going on?
I wish it was Red Lobster. At least shrimp engineering makes some sense to me.
Well, it actually is a quite beautifully engineered body, the shrimp. It's
that's what I mean. Like,
the way they swim, the way they propel themselves through the water, it's quite amazing.
It's fabulous. But no, in this case, it's human resources and employment services.
Oh.
I would have never guessed.
Well,
there's a lot of engineers on human resources boards.
I don't. Does this mean
I think this is why there are not as many on aerospace boards. That they're all in the human resources sector. That's probably why.
What this points out to me, first of all, is I don't understand anything. But second of all, people often, they accuse us of being negative with our data, like it's hostile to target directors to vote them out. But there's a lot of other uses of the data, which includes this one. That if you're the type of industry that needs engineering, we can help you identify which board members that you might want to call to put on your board after you vote out like the CEO's cousin or something. So don't look at it as negative. Look at it as creating a board vacancy to actually get a skill you need, and we can help you, it sounds like.
Although, that said,
yes,
where the hell are all the engineers on the industries that you'd expect them? Right, like
but that's where we can help, right? We can target those companies that need things, right?
One of the things that we notice in the data when it comes to knowledge bases is that the bigger the companies are, the more consolidated the industries are, the more they actually focus on economics, accounting skills.
They want to make some cash.
They usually consolidate whatever the core company skill is with the CEO, and the rest of the board is really just about maintaining market maintenance, accounting, law. It's all services.
Playing defense for the CEO, right? Protecting the CEO from outside
investors. You're looking professional. Like, it's hard to say no to an investment banker from Morgan Stanley on your board. Like, it's hard to say no.
Not if you're me, but for the normal people,
But for an investor, you're looking at that and being like, one of us is on the board. That's great. Like, I feel like an investor is there. But what has happened is they put all investors there. So really the only person with knowledge of the company's actual operations tends to be management, which is not so good. You kind of need something else. But the number one industry for engineering skill is not going to surprise you at all. It is biotechnology. At least they seem to have gotten it right in biotech.
All right.
The average is 1.8% knowledge influence on biotech boards, but it usually is almost entirely a couple of people who have a lot of engineering, like at Natera, Matthew Rabinowitz, at Galapagos, Paul Stoffels, at Zai Lab, Samantha Du. There are lots of biotech companies with a tremendous amount of engineering experience on those boards. So that's all I got. That's my short little
human resource and employment services. They have a lot of engineering on their board.
Here's the smart play.
Yeah.
You know that those people have board experience. You want engineers on your board, and you want somebody who's got board experience. Go raid the human resources boards. Just put them on the boards of aerospace companies.
Believe me, they're going to take your call. Believe me.
That's all we got. That's Damian Morales. I am your analyst, Matt Mascari. We are Free Float. Come back. We have a weird, busy week this week. I'm going to do Proxy Countdown probably by myself tomorrow.
Good.
It's going to be just me. Damian's going to be forever in jury duty, aren't you? And you're like...
I'm not supposed to say.
He's locked up.
I'm actually not supposed to say. I'm actually not.
Well, I didn't say... You didn't say anything.
That's right. I didn't say it.
You didn't say anything. So I said a thing. And then on Friday, we're going to have an early morning show because it's a long weekend here, and we got stuff in the afternoon. But otherwise, until then, goodbye.